Howdy everyone, and welcome back to the Luna Geeks Out channel. Today, we're in for something special because we are checking out Sabaton's cover of 1916 by Motörhead. My personal favorite song by Motörhead. Fun fact for y'all, this is a cover that I've heard a lot of praise for. I do not think it's going to live up to the original for me. The original, like I said, is my favorite Motörhead song. Probably one of my favorite songs of all time. But I think if they're able to capture the same feel as the original, but adopt it to their style, of course, I think it's going to be something really special. So I'm excited to check this one out. Without further ado, let's hop into it. From the modern day to the past.
16 years old when I went to the war to fight for a land.
Much heavier focus on the atmosphere here, more a lot of droning and stuff, which it works.
Chasing my days down to zero.
I think a bit too produced.
And I marched, and I fought, and I bled, and I died, and I never did get any older. But I knew at the time that a year in the line was a long enough life for a soldier.
I do like how they're bringing in soldiers from different eras, because this is a song that the emotions of it fit a lot of conflicts.
Shoulder to shoulder, our thirst for the hun, we were food for the gun, and that's what you are when you're soldiers.
Okay, this is nice right here. This is a good escalation of what the original song had. This guitar solo right here, taking the classic tune, doing some more. And I like that. I really like that.
I heard my friend cry, and he sank to his knees, coughing blood as he screamed for his mother. And I fell by his side, and that's how we died, clinging like kids to each other. And I lay in the mud, and the guts and the blood, and I wept as his body grew colder. And I called for my mother, and she never came, though it wasn't my fault, and I wasn't to blame. And the day's not half over, the 10,000 slain, and now there's nobody remembers our name. And that's how it is for a soldier.
Oh, that's a fantastic end to that. I had some problems with that, but the way they ended that was fantastic. Now I've got a little bit of the history here. It's gonna be Apocalyptica doing this right here. Just absolutely insane. Now, I'll talk about the music while the credits are rolling. I do want to quickly talk about the video for this. That was a super cool video. Bringing in soldiers from different wars and different parts of the wars. Looked like there were what I recognized Indian troops, looked like colonial French troops, Australian troops, I want to say. And then, of course, you had Roman soldiers, you had medieval soldiers, you had First World War II, you had the Swedish soldiers from the back in the day. I forget the specific era. So bringing in different stuff, because this is a song that I'll talk about this more in the lyrical analysis, but it's a song and a story that very much can relate to a lot of different oh, that's real people they're representing with all oh, that's super cool right there. I thought it was just, oh, bringing in different eras. That's real people being represented there. That's fantastic. Anyways, yeah, it's a story that fits just combat and war as a whole. So I do really like how they brought in just so many different eras in the video. I thought that was cool, a good expansion of what we had originally. And just production of the video, everything was nice. Set was good. The set, it looked manufactured, but it's the World War I set did. The town looked good. I think it was like an actual location they filmed at. The World War I set, and I guess World War II set as well, looked manufactured, but it didn't look bad. It was, I mean, it's a music video. You're not gonna get movie quality here. So, yeah, really, really good video on this. I really hope they release like this version of the credits as well. I would listen to this so much. Like, just beautiful right here. Yeah, very, very, very good stuff. Like I said, I have my problems with it, for sure. But there's a lot of good stuff in there. But before we hop into the review, of course, we need to do the lyrical analysis. Normally when I do like a historical related song, I'll tell actually the history and then go into the analysis and how it relates to the history. This is where, while it is about the Battle of the Somme, there's not like a specific historical fact, historical story being told here, because, like I said, this song is about the Battle of the Somme. Let me read out this quote from Lemmy here, actually quoted in the video as well. It's about the Battle of the Somme in World War I. 19,000 Englishmen were killed before noon, a whole generation destroyed in 3 hours. Think about that. It was terrible. There are 3 or 4 towns in northern Lancashire and southern Yorkshire where that whole generation of men were completely wiped out. This is technically about the Battle of the Somme. You've got 1916 is the title, the year the battle took place, and towards the end of the song, if I can find the line, yeah, and the day's not half over and 10,000 slain. Very direct reference to the Somme, but aside from that right there, there's nothing about this that screams Battle of the Somme to me. It is a song that screams the experience and the horror of World War I to me. And that's why I thought the video was so good, bringing in different stories in different eras, because it's something that fits a whole lot more than just the Battle of the Somme. So I'm going to be looking through the song less through the lens of the psalm and more through a lens of an anti-war World War One themed song and talking about how it works as that instead. So a bit of a different lens than it originally is, but that is the one I'll be looking at it through. So starting off, 16 years old when I went to the war to fight for a land fit for heroes. So they volunteered at 16. The age of enlistment in the British Army was 18, so a very common practice was lying about their age to go and fight, something that happened here in America as well. I believe it continued to happen in World War II as well, though I could be mistaken on that. Very common thing in World War One, I know that much. The A Land Fit for Heroes line, I believe this comes from one of those, like, iconic poems, because I've heard that so many times before, but when I tried to look it up earlier, all I was getting was a fantasy book series, and it's not in the poem that I thought it was from. So, unfortunately, I don't know what the origins of that line are on the original Motörhead song, the Genius page for that. That's the one line in verse 1 that doesn't have an annotation on it. So I don't know, but I feel like that does come from one of those old poems, you know. God on my side and a gun in my hand. This makes me think of, if y'all know the movie Joyeux Noel, great movie by the way, high recommendation about the Christmas truce. There's a sermon delivered in the film that is essentially saying that God has called us to go and slay the enemy and all that kind of stuff. And it does capture this idea that there was almost sort of a holy war element to this, and the idea that they were fighting on the right side. They had God supporting them, and also that juxtaposition of God, of course, a benevolent entity, versus, you know, a gun, the grace of God compared to the violence of man, something along those lines. Chasing my days down to zero by going off to war, they are cutting their life short. Very simple right there. Ties to the next bit. And I marched, and I fought, and I bled, and I died, and I never did get any order. But I knew at the time that a year in the line was a long enough life for a soldier. So, two ideas in that final section. We've got sort of that idea of, you know what, a soldier is very likely to be killed in combat, but also the acceptance and perhaps normalization of this kind of thing as well. Like, you're going to go off and you're going to die, and that's going to be a good thing, and that's going to be a fitting thing, that's going to be that's going to be the right thing, you know. Into verse 2. We all volunteered and we wrote down our names and we added 2 years to our ages. So, what I talked about a moment ago. Eager for life and ahead of the game, ready for history's pages. So they've got, we're going to go off, it's going to be this grand adventure. By the way, if you're after some good death metal, the Minenfeld album, The Great Adventure, really good raw death metal album about World War One, ties into this kind of idea of being taken in by the propaganda and going off, and it's just the violence and horror of war. Really high recommendation. Going off on this adventure ahead of the game, perhaps ties into the idea that they're signing up young, ready for history's pages. It's this massive war. It's going to be remembered for centuries to come. They are going to be part of this massive, massive thing. And we brawled, and we fought, and we hoarded till we stood 10,000 shoulder to shoulder, so training, getting ready for combat. A thirst for the Hun, we were food for the gun, and that's what you are when you're soldiers. The Hun, of course, the German, a name commonly used during World War I for the German soldier. There's a propaganda poster from that era that I believe calls the German the Hun. And if I can find it, I'll edit it on screen. It's a great one. But you know, the Hun, the enemy, you know, a thirst for them. They wanted to go out and fight. Food for the gun. All they would ultimately be was just another person to be cut down. And that's what you are when you're soldiers. Into verse 3. This is the darkest part of the song for sure. This is the one that when I'm listening to the original Motörhead song, this bit brings me to tears every time. I heard my friend cry, and he sank to his knees, coughing blood as he screamed for his mother. And I fell by his side, and that's how he died, clinging like kids to each other. And I lay in the mud and the guts and the blood, and I wept as his body grew colder. And I called for my mother, and she never came, though it wasn't my fault, and I wasn't to blame. And the day's not half over, and 10,000 slain. And now there's nobody who remembers our names, and that's how it is for a soldier. They join the war, young, ready for this adventure, ready to be a part of history, and they're cut down immediately and just forgotten. There's no glory to be found in their death. There's no honor to be found in it. They're just gone. And that's how it is for a soldier. Very much an anti-war song. The theming of this very much reminds me of the Wilfred Owen poem, Dulce et decorum est. If y'all don't know this poem, I'll link it down below on Poetry Foundation. Take the time to go and read it on your own. It is a haunting and incredibly powerful poem. Again, to make another music recommendation and comparison, check out the song Obscene as Cancer by Anil Nathrak, probably butchering that pronunciation. The lyrics for that song are almost completely taken from this poem, and it is a fantastic representation of. But I want to point out the final, I guess, stanza of this poem. I'm going to read this in full so you can get the full idea that's being portrayed here. If in some smothering dreams you too could pace behind the wagon that we flung him in, and watch the white eyes writhing in his hanging face like a devil's sick of sin, if you could hear at every jolt the blood come gargling from the froth-corrupted lungs, obscene as cancer, bitter as the cud, of vile incurable sores on innocent tongues, my friend, you would not tell with such high zest to children ardent for some desperate glory the old lie, dulce et decorum est, pro patria mori, which translates to, it is sweet and proper to die for one's country. That was the idea given to the soldiers enlisting, that they're going to go off. It's going to be glorious. They're going to take part in this important war. And if they do die, if they do get cut down, then, you know, it is sweet and proper to die for one's country. You are the worthy sacrifice and that kind of thing. Think back to another comparison. Think back to All Quiet on the Western Front. The teacher telling the students to enlist and telling them that same whole thing, and then Paul goes back. Such a powerful scene where he confronts him. There's a sculpture song, another comparison that actually samples the scene where he's talking to his teacher. I'll put the name on screen. I forget which specific song it is, but such a powerful scene in that movie. That's the kind of idea I get from this song, where it takes that it is sweet and proper to die for one's country idea that you see at the beginning of the song, to fight for a land fit for heroes. And you get to the end, and it's two boys, plain and simple, two boys shot, bleeding to death in the mud of the battlefield, calling out for their mothers. Man, I don't know how to wrap this up. I got very into this, and now I realize I don't have a good, conclusion. So yeah, we take this, and here's the basic idea of the song. It's a dark song, and I think easily the best anti-war song I have heard, because it's World War I, specifically the song. But it's theming that fits combat in general, and it doesn't make this big point of, oh, here's all these horrors, oh, look at all of them getting blown up and torn to shreds and everything. It's still very important stuff to understand, the kind of horrors that do take place during war, but it's this matter-of-fact approach to it, where it's just, they die, and it's painful. And There's nothing glorious about it. And as the song says right at the end, that's how it is for a soldier. That simply is what war is like. And it's powerful, powerful stuff. I think, honestly, these are probably like my favorite lyrics to a song of all time. Like this is poetry right here. And there's overlap between music and poetry for sure. Lyrics, of course, they oftentimes will have a flow and a rhythm to them, much like you'll get in poetry. Oftentimes they'll rhyme, much like you at least somewhat commonly see in poetry. But this feels like a poem. It doesn't feel like song lyrics. It feels like a poem, and it's just powerful, powerful stuff. And I really don't have a good little like bow to wrap this up with. It's just these are some of those lyrics that just they get me, and I don't have a way to like transition well, so we're gonna shift into talking about the music. Starting off with the vocals, this may actually be the best vocal performance I've heard from Joachim. This was fantastic. There was so much emotion within these vocals. It had that classic slight growl that he has and everything. Like, it was very classic Sabaton sounding vocals, but it wasn't too overwhelming like they can sometimes be. Like, just the nature of his voice is it very much like kind of demands that that's the thing that stands out, and they're very noticeable. Like, there's just a quality to them that you notice those vocals. And while these vocals demanded your attention, it was a much different manner, and it really, really worked here. And again, a lot of emotion in them. These vocals were fantastic. The guitar, that was quite nice. I enjoyed the guitar solo. I thought that was a great interpretation of sort of the original tune of the song. I don't have much to say on it, but it was nice. Bass, I didn't really notice too much, but it was fine. The drums, I really like those. He had sort of the marching drum in there, which was nice, and it went along, it was building up, and it was just this powerful drumming in this song. Had sort of militaristic aesthetic, had a much more atmospheric approach to it. It wasn't just fast, heavy metal drumming. It was more atmospheric, so the drums are great. Finally, there were just those basic, what's the word for the basic, like, sort of atmospheric droning sounds. They sound like there are like some string instruments in there and stuff. I don't know what all there was. That was great. It was texture, and you could feel it, and it built up the atmosphere and the energy. I really, really liked that stuff. The song as a whole, though, I'm not sure on. Because the original Motörhead song it's so simple. It's whatever that instrument that they used is. I don't know what it was, but whatever that instrument was, it was the very basic drums, and it was Lemmy's vocals, all incredibly, incredibly raw. There was a lot happening in the song musically. It was very produced. I'm not sure it worked. I liked the start of the song, and I really liked the end of the song. But everything else was just, I wasn't quite feeling it. Like the original, the original Motörhead song is such an emotional song for me. Like, that is one of those ones that really does make me cry every time. And I just wasn't feeling it here. As I started talking about the song, I started to feel it, right? As I started to talk about the story behind it and the lyrics. I don't know how well it like got conveyed on camera, but I was getting kind of torn up over this. Listening to the song, that didn't happen. It's a good song. It's a really good song, and I'd love to hear another Sabaton song like this, but I think for a cover of 1916 by Motörhead, I'm not sure this was it. If it had been the kind of same writing here, but it had been more raw, I think I would have much more liked what was going on here. This really was something special, something impressive. but it wasn't what it needed to be, I don't think. And again, there's a lot of stuff to like here. The vocal performance was incredible. The atmosphere was incredible. The build-up throughout it was incredible. The video was incredible. But there's just something about how it all came together and how it was mixed that I'm not sure on. I did like the cello bit, though, at the end in the credits. I would love to hear a full recording of that. That's a great interpretation of the original thing. I think the fact that it's just the music, there's no vocals sort of demanding your attention, it's just this tune, and it's this very mournful sounding cello as well. I thought it was Apocalyptica at first. It was, Tina Guo, or however you pronounce her name. Unfortunately, I don't actually know how. I think the credits said it was her doing it, which makes sense. She's worked with Sabaton a lot. I really liked that. I hope they put that out on streaming somewhere. I'd love to hear that more. And I did like just the main song. It's going in my playlists. I'm gonna listen to it, but it wasn't quite there for me, and I do hate to say that because this is a song that is so special for me, and this is a band that is so special for me. But again, this one just wasn't quite there, and I do like how Sabaton kind of broke away from the normal sound they've been falling back into. Like they really have become very much a samey band. So I'm glad that this was something different, and I hope this is a sign of what's to come, where they do keep branching out and pushing things a little bit and trying new stuff. I'd love to hear more of that, but it just wasn't quite it for me. It wasn't quite it for me. Now I do hate to end on a negative note, but you know, some songs are just like that. And unfortunately, it wasn't one of those rare ones where I legitimately dislike it. This is just one I had some problems with. But I am out of things to say on the song, so y'all know the drill. It is time to figure out what we will be checking out next time, and that is good timing as well. We are starting to run out of memory on the camera. But anyways, let's give the picker wheel a spin, see what gets sent our way. I am still hoping for some accident, but maybe it would be nice to continue with some historical music. Is that Guitar Spin? Guitar Spin GS3. That's a live performance. I have no idea what track, but Guitar Spin. Been checking them out a lot lately. Picker Wheel has very much been favoring their stuff. But man, I love me some Guitar Spin. Like I said, I got into them very recently, but man, it is some high quality music. Incredible live. I'm looking forward to that. Weird follow-up to this in many ways. But Guitar Spin next time is going to be incredible, and hopefully not as just depressing as this song. I am drained right now because we are talking about the story of this song, and again, I don't know how well that's being conveyed on camera, but man, this one got to me. To talk about more and more, it really did get to me. It's a delayed reaction on the emotions. I don't think you're going to get that with Guitar Spin, and I'm glad about that, because I don't think I have two just really depressing songs in a row. And God, I hope I am right that this isn't going to be incredibly depressing. But yeah, Guitar Spin next time. That's going to be incredible. But I am out of things to say, so that's going to do it for the video. Thank y'all for watching. Be sure to like if you liked, subscribe if you want to see more, and comment down below with your thoughts on the track, any feedback or criticism, or anything you want me to react to. In the description, link to the music video so you can go check it out, support the artist. Link to my Sabaton videos playlist, my historical music deep dives playlist, and my rock and metal reactions playlist. I think that's all the ones this is going in, so you can check out some similar content from me, and the links to my Discord server, Instagram, Twitter, Spotify playlist for the songs I've reacted to, and my link tree, which has some other stuff, including my Instagram account where I post all of this stuff. If you're after some more history content from me, you can check that out. You can also check out my history-themed YouTube channel that will hopefully have some new stuff out on it soon. I am in the midst of researching a video that has expanded far beyond what I originally thought it would be, and it should be a pretty cool one when it's done. So yeah, check that out if you're interested in some more history content. But I am out of things to say, so I want to see that's going to do it. Thank you all for watching, and until next time, I'll be seeing ya.